Iran may be gearing up for the next conflict with Israel. Officials there claim they're ready to fire 2,000 missiles at once in a future fight with the Jewish state. But the real question isn't how many missiles they have, it's how many that they can actually launch. I'll separate the rhetoric from reality. According to new reporting from the New York Times, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, has been quietly expanding its missile launch network, working toward a capability that could allow it to fire 2,000 missiles at once in a future confrontation with Israel. Now, at first glance, that number sounds very serious. 2,000 missiles launched simultaneously could swamp Israel's layered air defense system, which includes the Iron Dome and David Sling and the Arrow 3 system combined. It would be a blitz, designed, of course, to overwhelm radar operators and interceptors alike, forcing Israel to make painful choices about what to shoot down and what has to be let through. But there's more to the calculation here, because it's never been just about the number of missiles that Iran has had. It's more about the number of launchers that they have. During the brief but intense Iran-Israel war earlier this year, Tehran was able to launch roughly 500 missiles and something around 1,100 drones over the course of about a dozen days. Now, not all of them reached their targets. Israel managed to intercept the vast majority. And that campaign gave us a glimpse of Iran's limits. Its factories could crank out plenty of missiles, but its ability to launch them quickly in large coordinated salvos hit a ceiling. To put it simply, missiles are relatively cheap to make. Launch systems are not. They require vehicles and crews and command and control networks and hardened infrastructure that's vulnerable to preemptive strikes. Every launcher you roll out, of course, risks being spotted and destroyed before it launches. So when Iranian officials talk about firing 2,000 missiles at once, it's probably less a reflection of current capability and more of a long-term ambition, a signal to Israel and the West that Iran intends to saturate their defenses should there be a next time. That said, the ambition itself is worth watching closely, because Iran's missile program doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's reconstituting hand-in-hand with their nuclear program. According to the Times report, Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium now exceeds levels that would be required to build approximately 11 nuclear weapons, if fully refined. And inspectors, of course, are still barred from key Iranian sites. Israeli analysts see this as proof that the last war did not deter Tehran. Iranian factories are reportedly working around the clock to replace what was lost, expand storage bunkers, and upgrade the accuracy and range of their ballistic missiles, fueled, of course, by a desire to restore its image after the humiliations of this past summer. But here's the reality check. Even if Iran could produce or import enough launchers to fire 2,000 missiles at once, as they're talking about, coordinating that kind of salvo would be an enormous technical challenge. You'd be talking about hundreds of mobile launchers scattered across the country, operating in tight windows, synchronized through communications networks that Israel has spent years mapping and infiltrating. One wrong signal, one jammed transmission, and the whole operation could collapse. Now, that's not to say that Iran couldn't inflict damage. Of course they could. Even a few hundred missiles getting through would cause devastation and casualties. And if Hezbollah or the Houthis joined in from the north and the south, the numbers could multiply quickly. But the 2,000 missile claim is as much about strategic messaging as it is material planning. Still, for Israel and the United States, the messaging matters. Iran's leadership sees deterrence as a numbers game. The more rockets they can field, the less likely Israel is to strike first, and they want to project that inevitability. And for Israel, that does raise difficult questions. Do you strike now, while Iran's launch network is still under construction? Do you target the factories and silos before they're operational? Or do you wait? Iran's desire to fire off the 2,000 missiles at once is a long ways away, but it's not meaningless. It reflects a regime that's not deterred, that's learning, that's adapting, and preparing for a faster, perhaps more concentrated round of warfare. The moment Iran solves its launch bottleneck, well, the deterrence question shifts once again. Coming up next, a group of moderate Democrats has defied party leadership, breaking the deadlock in the nation's longest ever government shutdown. We'll have the details. Hey, Mike Baker here. Now, we've all seen those scary ads about owing money to the IRS, right? And they're just trying to frighten you into calling. Well, let me tell you about a different kind of business. They're called tax relief advocates. Now, if you owe the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $50,000 or $500,000, TRA, Tax Relief Advocates, has solutions to help resolve your tax problems. The good news is that you can get help anytime by visiting TRA.com, and TRA could reduce or even eliminate what you owe. Their team is passionate about helping individuals and businesses fix IRS issues, and they have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google, plus an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Look, you no longer need to be afraid of the IRS. Generous programs are available to give you a fresh start. End your tax troubles today by visiting TRA.com. That's TRA.com. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people. Hey, Mike Baker here, with a message from our friends over at Birch Gold Group. Now, it's that time of year again, and of course by that I mean it's the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right. For Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send you free gold for every $20,000 purchased. Look, gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce, right? But by October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. And you ask yourself, why? Well, in a nutshell, global uncertainty. Look, 2025 has been defined by trade wars and real wars and general uneasiness. And central banks are pulling away from the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. Here's a fact. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty. And if you're looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold with a qualifying purchase. Just text PDB to 989-898 to claim your eligibility and for a free information kit on gold. And remember, your opportunity for free gold with qualifying purchases ends on November 30th. So don't wait. Text PDB to the number 989-898 for full details. Welcome back to the Afternoon Bulletin. After weeks of stalemate over health care demands, 8 Senate Democrats broke ranks on Sunday, joining Republicans in a rare weekend vote to get Washington moving again. The Senate moved to vote 60-40 to advance a modified continuing resolution, or CR, which is Washington's go-to patch for keeping the lights on. The package would fund military construction, the Department of Agriculture, and the legislative branch through the 30th of September 2026, with the rest of the government funded until 30 January. Now, as we've been tracking, the breakthrough did not come easy, obviously. After weeks of holding the line, 8 moderate Senate Democrats, among them Minority Whip Dick Durbin, buckled and crossed the aisle. Their defection marked the first real crack in Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's blockade, which had dragged on for more than a month, as Democrats demanded new Obamacare subsidies be tied to any deal to reopen the government. But Republicans didn't blink, dismissing that demand as political hostage-taking. And so the Obamacare subsidies extension demand did not make it into the final plan. Instead, the updated CR includes modest concessions like back pay for furloughed government workers and reversals of certain layoffs ordered during the shutdown, but no guarantee on health care subsidies. After more than 40 days of gridlock, Democrats walked away with little more than what they could have had weeks ago in what could have spared airline travel delays, diminished SNAP benefits, health programs, and other vital government services that millions of Americans rely on. Still, Chuck Schumer tried to cast his party's stoppage of the government as a moral stand, huzzah, accusing Republicans of opposing health care reform. He said, quote, "When Republicans rejected Democrat proposals to extend expiring subsidies for a year, they showed that they're against any health care reform." Republicans, on the other hand, called it a turning point. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who led efforts toward the potential shutdown breakthrough, said the agreement includes one concession to Democrats, a future vote on their stalled health care subsidy proposal. He said, quote, "As I've said for many weeks to my Democrat friends, I will schedule a vote on their proposal," noting that the health care vote, set for no later than the second week of December, is still unlikely to pass. Over in the House, Speaker Mike Johnson today applauded the Senate's progress and warned members to be ready for a quick return to Washington once the measure clears. Johnson told reporters, quote, "At least some Democrats now finally appear ready to do what Republicans and President Trump and millions of hard-working American people have been asking them to do for weeks," adding that lawmakers would get 36 hours notice before the final vote. But I'd like to point out that the bill still faces a few procedural hurdles in the Senate, where a single objection could drag negotiations out for days. But if it clears both chambers, it will soon land on President Trump's desk for signature, closing the book on the record-long shutdown. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Monday, the 10th of November. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And, of course, if you'd like to listen to the show ad-free, well, it's simple. Just become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief by visiting pdbpremium.com. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here. Let me take just a moment of time to talk about your security, specifically your online security, and a great company that's out there called Delete Me that's working hard to keep you safe. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Delete Me sends you regular personalized privacy reports showing what information they've found, where they found it, and what they've removed. If you're like me, you care about protecting your personal data. And I know that Delete Me helps us stay ahead of threats like identity theft and doxing by removing information from data broker sites. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our PDB listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/brief and use the promo code BRIEF at checkout. Again, the only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/brief and enter the code BRIEF at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/brief, code BRIEF. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.